To say that I didn't love her would be massively incorrect. I loved her more than any other person could fathom. It's just, she slowly started treating me just like the others. That's why she had to die. Before you judge and hate me for that, allow me to explain myself. Please. Heather and I met on April 2nd, 2013. It was a cold day, 42 degrees. Snow was still on the ground and 11 schools in the city had closed that day. I was outside smoking a Marlboro 27, watching the world operate. A grumpy older man was shoveling his driveway so his wife's Prius could make it up the apron. He hated her. They screamed at each other almost every night except for weekends, when he would go to Woody's Tavern and fuck the house hooker. It caught up to him at 7:51 a.m. when he collapsed at the base of his driveway. No clutching, no visible pain. I heard Heather running across the street from her porch less than 8 seconds after. She yelled for someone to call 911. No one else was outside. It took the EMS exactly 1 minute to arrive. During the 60 seconds leading up to that, I had run to be by Heather's side and assist in the situation. She didn't understand how the human body works like I do. He was still breathing, albeit shallow. He had a low pulse also. After the 12 minutes and 2 seconds the paramedics took to secure the grumpy man and leave with him, I hung back to comfort Heather. She was clearly overwhelmed by the situation. As it turned out, she never saw a man go down like that before. The rest is history. We became engaged 1 year and 8 days after that incident. I proposed in front of her fireplace while we played Scrabble. I didn't win, but I did. Our plan was to move in together after officially tying the knot as to keep a modicum of tradition alive. Well, that was her plan at least. I disagreed, but since we lived only 977 feet away from each other, I was able to make do with the arrangement. I must admit, it did heighten my paranoia. Heather was so perfect and trustworthy that I didn't act on it like I had in the past. Besides, I was able to see into her living room from my attic as long as she didn't close the blinds, which she never did. Honestly, the only thing that really irked me about her was her unwillingness to do anything with me on the weekends. She was always busy with work. Alternating schedules, you see. I worked 40 hours, Monday through Friday, as a consultant at a tech firm. She typically worked retail hours randomly throughout the week, and then late shifts on the weekends at Denny's. I don't like not seeing someone I care about. When she told me she was pregnant, though, my prayers were answered. Over the course of 8 months, 2 weeks, and 4 days, Heather slowly began working less and less, aside from her weekend job. She actually picked up a few more hours at Denny's, but I was fine with it since she was always home during the week. Balance. I wasn't home when she went into labor at 3:16 p.m. on March 8th. The wife to the grumpy old man saw Heather writhing in contraction pain on her porch and rushed to her aid. They made their way to the hospital as I hurried home to grab the baby bag we had prepared. The grumpy old man stopped me as I was leaving. "Get a test done," he yelled as he waddled across the street. "You'll regret it if you don't." I stopped, out of anger mostly, but also curiosity. It's not every day someone tells you to take a paternity test as your child is being born. "Woody's," he panted. "Every weekend. She's popular." He didn't need to explain any further. I stared at him silently. I've been there. Anyone at the bar can prove it. That was enough for me. There had been 4 rumors before, but nothing substantial. I saved the man's life before, and I didn't see a reason for him to lie to me. I got in my car, but before I pulled out, he knocked on my window. "Sorry, my wife, she isn't the best." He apologized as he motioned to his house. "I'll deal with it." I sped off to the hospital. Heather didn't immediately go into labor. Her cervix wasn't dilated enough. They had her staged in the room ready for the moment, however. She was too doped up to notice I was next to her. The problem with hospitals is that things often go wrong. Pumps malfunction and can disperse too many milligrams of a certain medication. Plugs can be tripped on in a panic, causing machines with alarms to cease making noise. When things like that happen, people fall into a bad place that's hard to recover from. When things like that happen to a pregnant woman, doctors might have to perform an emergency C-section to save the baby's life before the mother dies. Usually only one can be saved. Usually the child. 6:31 p.m. He was harvested from Heather's lifeless husk. 7 pounds 7 ounces, 21 inches long. I took comfort that he was dark-skinned since we lived in a city that was 88% white and lived in an all-white development. I decided on the name Noah. Heather always loved that name. I was investigated and found guilty of some bullshit negligence charge causing my wife to perish. My lawyer was damn good, though. I served no time due to my clean record. 180 days of probation were all I had to serve. I was okay with that. Now that that's all settled, I need to find you. You're next.